This lets us theorize, mind you, that the raptor was capable of sophisticated vocalizations, which would have been a tremendous evolutionary advantage. Raptors were fierce, intelligent, and socially sophisticated. They were able to hunt in numbers and coordinate their efforts. Were it not for the cataclysmic events which overtook them, it is entirely possible that raptors, rather than humans, would have become the dominant species on this planet.
Deinonychus enterhopus was described in 1969 by American paleontologist John Ostrom in the Midwestern United States of America. It hails from the Antlers and Cloverleaf Formation, ancient geological rock dating between the Valanginian and Albian stages of the early Cretaceous epoch, 135 to 112 million years ago. At a time in Earth's history where Africa and South America hadn't yet separated, and Europe was a series of large island continents that stretched from Asia to North America. In 1991, International Genetic Technologies revived the Deinonychus as part of their de-extinction project for John Hammond's Jurassic Park. However, the resulting prehistoric species had compatibility issues with its genetic donor, and as such was replaced by an improved variant in 1992. Due to the company's concerns with the name Deinonychus, it was decided that they would rename the species based on a book from 1988 dubbing Deinonychus as Velociraptor enterhopus. By 1999, there were 3 groups of these velociraptors living in the wilds of Isla Sorna. Each had their own territory and unique characteristics, and as the years went by, many referred to these animals as the 3 raptor tribes. Tribe A were the Caldera Velociraptors, a small, robust variant cloned in 1991 using the DNA of the yellow-banded poison dart frog. They thrived in the central mountainous regions along the rim of the central caldera. However, their population was greatly reduced due to a genetic disorder which caused their body to deteriorate at a rapid rate. Tribe B is the lowland Velociraptors, a larger, slimmer variant cloned in 1992 to replace the Caldera Velociraptors as an attraction for Jurassic Park. They were cloned using the DNA of the Arusha reed frog, which allowed them to change from female to male and begin breeding in the wild. Due to their aggressive nature, they were removed from the park tour and set to be replaced with Herrerasaurus. They live in the eastern lowland regions of Isla Sorna and the collapsed crater within the central caldera. Tribe C are the Highland Velociraptors, an intelligent and socially adept variant whose origin remains unknown. While some believe them to be a naturally evolved variant of the lowland Velociraptors, others believe them to be a new variant cloned by InGen during Project Regenesis in 1999. They have distinct and unique characteristics compared to the previous tribes, such as quill-like protofeathers on the back of the male's heads and a pronounced nasal crest. These, however, are not the only Velociraptors cloned throughout InGen's history. In the early 2000s, reports of a new Velociraptor variant surfaced during the United Nations Isla Sorna Preservation Program. In 2012, Masrani Global would authorize the creation of a new series of new Velociraptor variants to be used in InGen's Integrated Behavioral Raptor Intelligence Study, more commonly known as IBRIS. Version 2.2x Coastal Velociraptor Deinonychus enterhopus tigris cristata. Similar to the aforementioned Highland Velociraptor, the origin of the coastal Velociraptor is completely unknown, and even the existence of the coastal Velociraptor is up for debate. Their appearance is perplexing as they display attributes that both the lowland and Highland Velociraptors share, suggesting that they may be a crossbreed between the two. Male coastal Velociraptors have green eyes and display a deep red, almost purple coloration throughout their entire body, similar to some of the lowland Velociraptors. However, unlike lowland raptors, male coastal velociraptors have a white stripe along the length of its body and quill-like structures at the base of their heads. However, the quills don't resemble those that are seen on highland velociraptors. They are ink black and much shorter. The females are perhaps the most abnormal. According to eyewitness sightings, female coastal velociraptors are pale blue with white striping across their torso and tails. In a way, their appearance is very similar to modern blue jays, which is where this variant gets its breed classification. From the male's quills, the African-crested porcupine Hystrix cristata, and the female's coloration, the blue jay, Cyanoceta cristata. Reports of this Velociraptor variant first appeared in the early 2000s following the Isla Sorna survivor incident in 2001 and Vic Hoskins' Pteranodon relocation effort that same year. The very first sightings derived from the reports of the UN Sorna Preservation Program in 2002, when researchers encountered velociraptors whose features were unlike anything they had seen before. However, what truly started the witnesses was the behavior of this new raptor. Its geographical location on Isla Sorna was limited to the coastal regions, hence its common name. The reason for this was because of its diet. It was a fish hunter. The researchers on Isla Sorna followed the raptor to a fishing spot on the coast where they witnessed it enter the ocean and snap a small fish in its jaws. Despite no physical advantage in the water, it seemed to do very well at hunting fish. Sightings of this velociraptor were rare, and many of the paleontologists on staff even doubted the raptor's existence, suggesting that they may be misidentified lowland velociraptors. However, everything changed with the discovery of the first female. In 2004, during the Sorna relocation program, an InGen mercenary reported a strange animal attempting to camouflage in one of Sorna's central river systems. Upon further investigation, the mercenary found what appeared to be the head of a blue velociraptor staring at him below the surface of the water. Upon being discovered, the raptor ducked its body further underwater, disappearing completely. The female coastal velociraptors were seen again when researchers encountered a nesting site. Hidden by dense surrounding foliage, the researchers witnessed a mating display between multiple groups of male and female coastal velociraptors. According to the reports, the males would flash their quills and duck their heads down in order to impress females. After the opening of Jurassic World in 2005, reported sightings of the coastal velociraptor dwindled significantly as the Sorna expeditions became less of a priority. Due to the rarity of their sightings, there are no confirmed reports of InGen capturing these elusive raptors. However, upon the authorization of the Integrated Behavioral Raptor Intelligence Study in 2012, InGen used what appeared to be coastal velociraptors in their initial trial tests. While it is unknown where this first raptor squad originates from, we know that they were severely short-lived as all of its members were ordered to be terminated by Security Director Vic Hoskins due to their unpredictable and aggressive behavior. In spite of this, the IBRIS project continued operation. Because of the failure of the V2 project, Masrani authorized Dr. Henry Wu and Dr. Amelia Everett to begin the process in designing a new Velociraptor. Version 3.0 IBRIS Lux Velociraptor Deinonychus Anterhopus varanus Lux. Following the failure of the V2 project, Sam and Masrani authorized the creation of a new Velociraptor variant in hopes of creating a more docile breed that would be easier to tame. Dr. Henry Wu, with the assistance of Dr. Amelia Everett, designed a single Velociraptor in the North Mount Sibo Genetics Center in early 2012. Due to the nature of their experiments, neither Security Director Victor Hoskins nor IBRIS Director Owen Grady were aware of the experimentations. The single Velociraptor was cloned using an amalgamation of lowland and highland Velociraptor DNA, which was used as the basis for further IBRIS Velociraptors. The appearance was almost identical to Sorna Velociraptors with some minor adjustments, specifically on the snout. They also implemented a gene from Acoria victoria, the crystal jellyfish, which gave the Velociraptor a bioluminescent pattern. Despite its aggressive nature, Sam and Masrani approved the creation of more Velociraptors. While it is unknown how many groups IBRIS consisted of, we know a fair amount of how the animals were created. Each new batch of Velociraptors would be modified using the DNA of different Raptor variants, and Wu would implement a specific gene into each Raptor batch to assist in differentiating individuals. Version 3.1x, IBRIS lowland Velociraptor, Deinonychus enterhopus varanus tigris. The first group were the lowland Velociraptors, and this particular group was created at the special interest of Dr. Henry Wu. They were modified with the DNA of the black-throated monitor lizard, which was implemented in an attempt to determine whether or not Velociraptors were capable of parthenogenesis, a theory that would ultimately prove to be correct. Because of their genetic donor, they were born with gray scales and a blue stripe along the lengths of their body. The single individual of this group to be utilized for the IBRIS project was D9, or Blue. Another group was made using lowland Velociraptor genes, but we lack knowledge on its genetic donor. This particular group displayed a yellow body with teal stripes and markings across its torso. Although it is unclear how many individuals were made for this batch of Velociraptors, we know of one that was used in the IBRIS project. C167, or Echo. In their early life together, Blue and Echo got into a fight for control over the Raptor squad. Echo lost the fight, leaving a scar on the right side of her face. Version 3.2x, IBRIS coastal Velociraptor, Deinonychus enterhopus varanus cristata. The second group were the coastal Velociraptors, or at least what appeared to be a coastal Velociraptor. Their DNA was modified using a mix of birds and geckos, which resulted in a darker green coloration. At first, their appearance is strikingly similar to that of highland Velociraptors, but upon closer inspection it's clear that the crest of the raptors is significantly shorter than that of the third groups, suggesting that these are actually modified using coastal Velociraptor DNA, but this is unconfirmed. Like many others, only one of the individuals was utilized for IBRIS, D238, or Delta. Version 3.3x, IBRIS Highland Velociraptor, Deinonychus enterhopus varanus hystrix. The third group were the Highland Velociraptors, which were modified using the DNA of the marine iguana. This gave them a bright green color palette and dark striping across the lengths of their bodies. They also have a pronounced nasal crest similar to the wild Highland Velociraptors from Isla Sorna. However, unlike their wild counterparts, it is unknown whether or not they had quills. Of the individuals created for this batch, only one is confirmed to have any use in the IBRIS project, specifically E377, or Charlie. Between 2012 and 2015, the majority of these Velociraptors' lives would be spent training with Owen and the other members of IBRIS. Their training regimens were limited to the single quarantine pen located in the northeast of Sector 6. Despite Vic Hoskins' desire to test the Raptors in a larger setting, both Grady and Masrani refused to let any Velociraptors outside of their paddocks in fear that they would lose control. In the last few years of Jurassic World's history, Dr. Henry Wu convinced Simon Masrani to approve the creation of another project in line with IBRIS. But instead of focusing on the already existing Velociraptors, Dr. Henry Wu created a new variant of Troodon. Dr. Kate Walker was assigned to the new Troodon project because of her graduate thesis on decoding animal behaviors, and she'd begun creating a dino decoder in order to determine the animal's thoughts and emotions during training. In December of 2015, during an inspection of the upcoming Indominus Rex exhibit, Workers entered into the paddock to investigate the apparent disappearance of the hybrid, which ultimately led to the asset's escape. Seizing the opportunity, Hoskins proposed to release the Velociraptors in an attempt to hunt down the Indominus. After refusing Hoskins' proposal, Sam and Masrani, along with ACU soldiers, attempted to take down the Indominus Rex themselves. Unfortunately, the animal had broken into the aviary, allowing Pteranodons to take down Masrani's helicopter. Following his death, Vic Hoskins took control of Jurassic World and set a plan to use the Velociraptors to hunt down the rogue hybrid dinosaur. What they had not anticipated, however, was the Indominus' ability to mimic the calls of the Velociraptors, who abandoned their allegiance to InGen and started hunting them down, leading to the eventual death of Vic Hoskins. In an attempt to salvage the IBRIS project, InGen mercenaries led by Kent Reeve captured discarded IBRIS Velociraptors and relocated them to the Atacama Desert in Chile. Weeks later, they returned to Isla Nublar to reclaim the Troodon Genie, who was raised by Kate Walker. Using the research they salvaged on Isla Nublar, they constructed a defunct dino decoder based on Walker's original prototype. Walker herself discovered Genie's whereabouts and sent out to rescue her, dismantling InGen's operations in South America and releasing their Velociraptors out into the wild. Upon returning to Isla Nublar, they were intercepted by Kent Reeve and their associates, who were killed off by the wild dinosaurs of Isla Nublar. Meanwhile, Dr. Henry Wu, now working at Lockwood Manor, had abandoned the idea of using Velociraptors in favor of something far more sinister. In 2016, Dr. Henry Wu had returned to Isla Nublar to recover lost information on the prototype hybrid the Scorpius Rex. Meanwhile, InGen mercenaries were sent out to recover the genetic material from the Indominus Rex corpse in the Mosasaur Lagoon. After recovering the genetic material, Henry Wu returned to Lockwood Manor and began the process of creating a new hybrid dinosaur. Unfortunately for Wu and Mills, they were missing a key ingredient in their research: Velociraptor DNA. While they had the DNA of the Indominus, they required the DNA of Blue in order to perfect their creation. Luckily for them, Dr. Amelia Everett had returned to Isla Nublar and contacted Lockwood Manor for assistance in escaping. Wu promised Everett a helicopter so long as they retrieved the DNA of the Velociraptor. However, upon retrieving the DNA, Everett is killed in an explosion and her associate Sam returns to the mainland with Blue's genetic code. Using the information retrieved in 2016 and the material Everett recovered the following year, Henry Wu began the construction of the perfect military hunter. He began by modifying the genetic code of the Indominus Rex, singling out specific genes that would be useful for a predator, and recompleted the genetic code using Velociraptor DNA. The resulting asset was truly Wu's prized creation, the Indoraptor. 2 Indoraptors were created in late 2017, a black male and a white female. At first, the two successfully coexisted, but as time went on, InGen decided to test the strength of Wu's creation by pitting the two up against each other. Using the information gathered by Owen Grady during his time at IBRIS, InGen managed to train the Indoraptor pair to target anything by utilizing a combination of a laser pointer and a command to attack in the form of a high-pitched frequency. Mercenaries led the predators to a large open space where they could fight each other with less restrictions. Then, once everyone was a safe distance away, they pointed the lasers at each hybrid and sounded the command to attack. In the ensuing fight, the now single male was victorious. Wu was displeased at the aggressive nature of the Indoraptor. Sure, it was tameable, but it lacked a key ingredient. Wu believed that the Indoraptor would need something to imprint on, and believed that Blue herself would be the prime candidate. And so, when Eli Mills began planning to relocate the dinosaurs on Isla Nublar to be sold at auction to raise money, Wu made it clear that he wanted the Velociraptor. In 2018, after seismic activity caused the long-dormant Mount Saiba to reactivate, Mills convinced Benjamin Lockwood to fund an expedition to save the dinosaurs. In reality, it was all a front to relocate the dinosaurs to Lockwood Manor so the InGen could raise money for its future. Mills specifically invited the leader of the Dinosaur Protection Group, former Jurassic World director Claire Deering, so that she can reactivate the tracking system in order to hunt Blue easier. Claire Deering invited Owen Gray to Nublar to help track Blue, believing that he would want to help save the Velociraptor he spent 4 years training. Although he initially refused, he quickly jumped at the opportunity after reminiscing about his time with InGen through old IBRIS training tapes. While on Isla Nublar, Claire and company reactivated the old radio tower at the north end of Isla Nublar, allowing them to track Blue and the other dinosaurs. Owen found Blue at the Tyrannosaurus paddock in Sector 6, but was betrayed by Ken Wheatley's team, who shot Blue, tranquilized Owen, and abandoned him as the volcano began to erupt. They brought Blue and many of the other dinosaurs on the Arcadia to Lockwood Manor, where Gunnar Eversole hosts a private auction to sell the dinosaurs. Claire, Owen, and Franklin Webb managed to sneak on board the Arcadia back to the mainland. With the help of Maisie Lockwood, they sabotaged the auction before the Indoraptor could be sold. The Indoraptor is killed by Blue, who causes it to land on top of an Iguaja-Ceratops skull on display at the mansion, and after the death of the Indoraptor, the survivors release the remaining dinosaurs to the mainland, including Blue, leading to a new era of dinosaurs and genetic engineering. In the new reality of mainland dinosaurs, new raptor species and variants begin to appear, and with the death of the Indoraptor, its technology is given to a new predator, controlled by a sinister organization. This was the second installment of the Raptor Variant Research Project. Sorry it took so long to finally come out. We'll be back another time with the third chapter in this series, discussing the new raptors cloned on the mainland.
Remember, if you liked our content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that bell to be notified of any of our future uploads. This has been Thy. I'll see you all next time down in the Amber Mine.